Alright, welcome to the first lecture of Unit 3. Unit 3 is the study of the United States Congress and the pieces that go into making Congress happen. We're going to make this quick and simple and easy, so let's get right to the point. So we really do need to know who they are in terms of their basic functions and what they do. If you actually look at the U.S. Congress, the way it's laid out, you have the Senate over here and the House over here. This used to be the building itself, but they added on the addition. The idea that you want to think about here is the Senate has to act in certain things separately than the House chamber does, the House of Representatives, but in the end they both have to work together because they both have to create a product that can be sent to the President for action. So let's take a look at the House of Representatives in detail. You can write down this chart and pause when you need to, but as you remember from the Great Compromise, the House of Representatives is 435 members. Each of those are proportionally representing about the same number of people because they represent the same portion of the population. The larger the state is, the many more representatives they have. In the case of California, they have the largest population, therefore they have the largest number of representatives. D.C., on the other hand, is not a state, but they do have a population, so they do get a delegate. That delegate serves on committees. However, that delegate cannot vote on the House floor. They can vote in committee, but they can't vote on final bills on the House floor. If we look at the leadership, there's some terms that you're going to want to be familiar with. In the case of the House of Representatives, you have something known as the Speaker of the House, and the Speaker of the House is from the party that leads, the leading party in that House. So in this case, it's Republican Speaker John Boehner. You also have a Republican leader at this time because they're the majority party. So we call them the majority leader, as well as what's known as the minority leader. Now they both have technical roles, which we'll explore a little bit later. In terms of terms, you'll notice that it's a 2-year term. The idea is that they can be re-elected if they're approved. Everyone is elected every time. The whole House turns over every single time there's a federal election. That's every 2 years. You'll notice the qualifications are pretty simple. You have to be 25 years old. You have to be a citizen of the U.S. for the previous 7 years before you're elected. They have to be consecutive. And you simply have to live in the state. You'll note that it's not the district that you represent. You just simply have to live in the state that you represent. Senate is a little different. You'll remember from our study of the Great Compromise. So here you go. The Senate is, again, 100 members. There is nobody from the District of Columbia. They get their representation in the House as the delegate. Technically, the President of the Senate is the Vice President of the United States, but since the Vice President often has a number of other duties to perform, that then leadership is then passed to the President pro tempore of the Senate, and that is the most senior member, the longest serving member in the United States Senate from the leading party. And so it is a position of honor, not much authority, but the real authority lies in the majority leader, which in this case is a Democrat because the Democrats control the Senate, as well as the minority leader, which is the leader of the Republican Party in the Senate at this point because they are in the minority. Their term is a lot different. It's 6 years. They do not have to go up for re-election every time there's a federal election. Their qualifications are a little bit more stiff. You have to be at least 30 years old. You have to be a citizen in the United States for the last 9 years before election, and you simply have to live in the state, again, that you represent. There are some different and key parts that we're going to look at here in a second. So let's take a look at each of these as they compare. You'll see that the House of Representatives has smaller constituencies. They simply represent less people, whereas in the Senate they represent the whole state. The House is often younger. There are more partisan members, whereas the Senate is the elder statesman. They're the more experienced one. Therefore, the House of Representatives has less prestige. The upper house has more prestige. The House has much more strict rules, about an hour debate split between the parties on bills, and nearly unlimited debate for the. You'll notice that comes into play with the filibusters. There's very key differences between the two, and we'll explore that through the rest of this unit. See you later.